In this video, we're going to talk a little bit more about looping, and we'll review for loops and talk about a while loop. Some basic for loops. Here we are initializing a variable to be 0. We're going through a loop from 0 to 24, and every time we let me do it this way. Every time we go through the loop, we are going to add I to the total. That's what this means. Plus equal means the same thing as equals total plus another I. So this will add up all the numbers from 0 to 24 and give us the answer. And we'll run that and see what it looks like. The total is 300. Sometimes in Python you see this, which looks kind of weird. What's that underscore doing there? Well, this will go through this loop 3 times and normally put an I there, right? Or some variable. But in this case, we don't use that variable at all. We're just going to print ho, ho, ho. And so to show that we don't really care about what variable it is, some people use the underscore. I kind of like this because it shows that the looping variable is not important. Underscore is a valid name of a variable, so this is actually a variable, but it's just kind of looks like it doesn't matter, and it doesn't. So this prints ho ho ho. And then the next one, I just wanted to show you again the way you can use enumerate. And enumerate will go through the list. In this case, it goes through the list, well, actually not the list, it goes through the string and pulls out one character at a time. I'll talk about the rest of this in a second. And it gives you, enumerate means to number something. It gives you the number and the word that goes out. Oh, actually, yeah, that's right. The way this pulls out, this is going to be a list. Let me show you why. At first I thought it was a string, but I guess I really did make it a list. Here we go. This is a string, but I'm tacking a couple things onto it. You don't need to do each of these in individual steps. You could do this all at once. So this first part's a string, but then I turn it into a list by using split, and that splits on the white characters. So it splits at the spaces. So the first list element is money, the next one is show, the next one's get ready, the next one's go. And then I also just wanted the first 2. So you just wanted to show you how you can put all this together. If you don't need to make separate variables to hold all this stuff, just if it's easy enough to understand, you can throw it in one line. And this just prints 1 for the money, 2 for the show. In this example, I wanted to show you a nested loop. That means a loop, a for loop, inside a for loop. So in this one, I goes from 0, 1, 2, and I just print what I is. But once I have I to be 0, for example, I'm going to go through a lot of J's. And J is going to go from 0 to 3. And so I'll print I and J here. Let's see what it looks like. So at first, I is 0. And then inside this loop, I'm printing I, which is 0, and J, which on the first line is 0. Then it goes back in here, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, and so forth. So this is a way to get a 2-dimensional array initialized. And finally, for loops, sometimes you want to start a for loop, but you might need to end early. For example, if you're going to give someone 3 guesses, what's a capital Lagana? And you want to give them 3 guesses, so maybe you'll give them guess number 1, 2, 3 in a for loop. But if they answer it right, they don't need to keep on guessing. So what you can do is ask them for the guess. This input asks them for the guess. This says guess number, it'll say guess number 1, and you'll convert it to lowercase, so that way you don't have to worry about upper and lowercase problems. And I put the answer in as C. Oh, the answer isn't C. Hold on a second. The answer is A. Accra. And if they guess the answer, you tell them it's right, and then here's the key. then you break. This breaks out of the loop, and then we'll continue on down here. Let's just put another line. And let's see what this looks like. And if they didn't get it right, then it goes to print that's incorrect. And you give them their second guess and then the third guess. So let's try that. And let's guess incorrectly a couple times. Okay, so you see that just is done anyway. I got my 3 guesses and I'm done. But let's run that again and show you what happens if I get it right. That's right, and it's done, so it doesn't keep on going. That's break. Another type of loop altogether is a while loop. And you use this primarily for user input, where you just don't know how many times someone's going to give you an answer. For example, if you start with the account balance of $530 and you just ask people to enter their withdrawals, after a while, and you don't know how long, you're going to run out of money. So you don't know, you can't make a for loop because you don't know how many withdrawals they're going to have. So what you can do is, this is a while loop, that while the account balance is positive, keep on asking them for withdrawals. And then but you got to keep on changing withdrawal. We're going to take the money out every account balance, every time we go through here. So let me run this one. Let's withdraw $200, another $13, and then let's try to draw way too much. And it tells us that we're overdrawn. So this stopped because I went negative. And so this is pretty handy. And for certain situations, I end up using for loops a lot more often. But there are some conditions, like here. Let me actually put this down below. There are some conditions where you notice that the while tests the condition before you do anything in the loop, right? It's testing the account balance before we even start. Sometimes you have nothing to test until they've gone through the loop once. So if you're going to ask somebody to name all the fruits that you can, starting with the letter P, and ask them to just enter blank line when they're done, they haven't entered anything, so you don't know if you need to stop yet. Or you have to ask them for something. So in some languages, there's something called a do until loop. That means you do something and you check at the very end to see whether you need to stop or not. And Python doesn't have one, so you have to do a couple things to try to emulate one. Like, for example, I'm going to make a little flag. This is just a variable, which is true or false. Just say am I done? And we're going to start with no, I'm not done. We're not done because they didn't enter anything yet. I'm going to keep track of how many guesses there are. I'm going to keep track of the fruits that they enter, and name all the fruits that you can. So I'll ask. And here, I'm going to start while not done. Well, false, this is false, so not false is true. So yeah, okay, so every time this is true, I'm going to go through the loop. So it's true. I then get to start. Ask them for a fruit, record the fruit, and increment my counter. And when they do enter, look at this response. If they enter something, I'm going to record it. If they enter just a blank, response will be false. So I'll go down here and I'll say, okay, we're done, and I'll make done true. It'll come back here and say, oh, yeah, we're done. So then it won't go through this loop again and just drop out the end. Let's do that. I should take this one off. Just 1 second. I don't need to do with that. And let's just do that again. I have to stop this program because it's still waiting. And let's try running the new one. Name all the fruits you can. Let's start with the letter P. Peach, pear, pineapple. And I'll put it a blank right now. I named 3 fruits. Okay, so that's how that worked. There is another way to emulate the do until loop. And it looks like this. And you might see this. It just says while true. that means that it's going to loop forever. And the way you stop looping forever, or don't make it just keep on going and going and going, is use the break command that we saw earlier. This will break out of the loop. So you just keep on testing. If they have no response and they hit an enter, then you break out of the loop. So we'll run that again. It'll look the same. Let me see. I is not defined. This is a great lesson. I forgot to start I. It worked because I had, this is just one piece of my old program. So I equals 0. Now I should be able to work. Okay, so I have I is starting at 0. Oh, I probably shouldn't fix that. Oh, well, I will. Here we go. So let's do pair. I'm just going to do 1. And I did this wrong because I had that there. But anyway, this thing did break out of the loop as soon as I hit a blank line.